know about you guys, but this is a topic of conversation we've had in our house for some time now. We have noticed that when we watch television, well, and mostly I have to say this is on the streaming services. This is not on, the network services, mostly on streaming services. The number of bad words that are being used, the number of 4-letter words, the 7 words you can't say, there just seems to be so much profanity on television and on a lot of these shows. And you wonder, is it just you? Is it true? Are we seeing more of that? Why is this happening? Jan Goss is an etiquette expert and a best-selling author, and she's joining us here on WJR. Good morning, Jan.
Good morning, Marie.
So am I imagining this, or are there more bad words on TV?
Marie, I wish I could tell you were just having a bad dream, that you were just imagining this, but unfortunately, it's very, very true. And it does come with the streaming services because they are not regulated in the same way that the other shows are.
But, even on the streaming services, I'm mainly because I really write for a living, it's always important for me. A story is very important to me, and how a story is presented, how it's written, how it's expressed to the viewer or the listener. That's really important to me. Mm-hmm. And to me, it almost seems like using swear words, using profanity is just a shortcut to maybe deeper thinking and another way to express an idea or an emotion. In other words, it's a cheap way to get there. It just seems like more and more writers are employing that technique. Would you agree with that?
I do agree. I agree that it's happening. I don't agree that it's the right way to go, but certainly we are seeing more of that, and I totally concur. It's, can we not find a larger vocabulary?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Can't we find a better vocabulary? So what do you think has to happen for maybe this to change?
Well, I am a huge proponent of personal responsibility and self-regulation. So I do think that, we need to be decent humans and regulate what comes out of our mouth, because that we are 100% responsible for. So whether it's in our home, as parents, as leaders, we can be the example, because if we're setting one standard and being a different standard, that's not going to work. So we have to set higher standards. We are lowering our standards to this lowest common denominator, and someone has to stand up, and it needs to be the leaders.
I like that we all have some personal responsibility in this. We all have a stake in this. I like that. It's as I was hearing you respond to that, I thought back to last week. I listened to a podcast done by a woman, and it didn't matter that there was a woman on this podcast. It could have been a man. Didn't matter. But this person was a young mother, and she was somewhat of a public figure. It's a podcast again, so again, there it's a little, the standards are a little different.
Not regulated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the number of times she used the F word, I was taken aback by that. And listen, kids aren't going to be listening to this person's podcast. I can tell you right now, that's not the problem.
Right.
The problem was that I was just surprised that that she would use that language.
Well, you might be talking about one of my favorite podcasters, because I absolutely love her and love the guests that she brings on. But I do have to filter in my own mind because she drops the F-bomb so often. I think that we just sort of become immune. It's like the frog in the boiling pot, just a little at a time. It erodes away at our thinking skills until pretty soon we let it in. And if we're not self-aware, not only will it come in, but it will come out of our own mouths.
I like that. It erodes away on our thinking skills. I really do like that. And I would like to say, I should have said this at the very beginning of talking to you. None of us are prudes. We all know people swear. In my book, it's okay. Get it. I get it. It's not like I don't. I totally
Right.
understand it. It just seems to now become almost a part of language, and that is troublesome to me and bothersome to me. And Jan Goss, the etiquette expert, telling us we should probably check ourselves, and then that might be helpful in further discourse. Jan, thank you so much for joining us today here on WJR.
My pleasure. Come see me at showupwell.com.
Will do.